everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and look who I have back.
Oh my goodness, it's good to be back. Hello.
This is my dear, beautiful friend, Dr. Brandon Nielsen. We're so happy to be here. It's the very 1st of September, so if you're watching this as soon as we make it, it's September 1st today. And we wanted to get together and bring you some information about this upcoming flu season because we know that every fall, going into winter, we all kind of prepare. We do our best to, and this is not anything new. This is something that's been going on since the beginning of humans. So we wanted to bring you some really good tips to get through this upcoming flu season because we all know this is a unique time, right?
This is a unique one.
This is a very unique one. So the very first thing we decided to talk about on this list is how to keep our immune system strong. But the biggest part that is going to damage your immune system this particular year in 2020 is the aspect of fear. So let's talk about that because you can eat healthy, you can take all the herbs you want, but if you are rotating in fear,
it's true.
You are going to just wreak havoc on your immune system. So let's talk about how that happens.
All right, so so fear, it's an emotion. It's not good or bad. It's just an emotion. We define what it equals. You can have a little kid touch a hot stove and then they're afraid and that fear protects them. Fear mechanism is it really is, it's an emotion. And what it does is it fuels, so it is the fuel that will keep us going in a certain direction. So think of that. So if you have a car that needs to go in a certain direction towards immunity or away from immunity, it is the emotion that is the fuel that's going to keep your car going towards a certain direction or other direction. So one of the things with fear, and especially fear and then the emotion of anger and any of the related emotions, so fear deals with things like the unknown. That's based in fear, unsure, uncertainty, having to prove. If you have to prove to somebody, you're generally going from fear into anger. All these emotions of fear. Then what happens is when you stay in this state, what you do is you actually go into a fight or flight response. Now, what we know scientifically, it's been proven, when you stay in a fear state or a fight or flight response, what you do is you decrease your immune system. So think of it like this. Let's say we're hiking. We're out hiking, we're foraging for some lomatium root or something like that. So we're out and we see a bear. Ooh. Now this isn't just a friendly bear. This is a bear that starts charging for us because we're taking their root and they're mad at us. So in that moment, what happens? What happens when you see the bear and it starts charging you? What happens to your body?
Serious adrenaline rush.
Wow! We go nuts. Serious adrenaline rush.
And we run faster and farther than we ever
Heart
thought we
rate
could.
go up or down.
Yeah.
Heart rate goes up. Blood pressure up or down.
Up.
Pupils dilate. Are you thinking about digesting?
No,
you're not thinking about digesting. Are you thinking about taking care of that bacterial infection that you have in your gut? No. Yeah. The only thing you are thinking about is, will I live to tell this story? Will I live you might even drop your precious cargo behind and you just run for it.
Survival.
That's exactly right. So you stop in the rest and digest and you go to complete survival. Now, what is so crazy about that is humans, the top of the food chain, we are the only ones who can actually elicit a survival or elicit a fight or flight response through thought alone. It's absolutely phenomenal. But we can just think it and we can actually increase our blood pressure. We can just think about something scary. We can think about some fight that we had with a coworker. We can get on the roadway and we can actually cause all those things to happen. We can cause our heart rate to go up. We can cause our blood pressure to go up. We can go into the fear state. The things that are happening in the world, we can watch the news and we can go into the fear or panic and the same type of thing. The other thing that you mentioned, adrenaline spikes up for a moment and also cortisol, the stress hormone, spikes up as well. So you guys, the key from all this, and I tell you this story so that you'll understand how important this is. When you go into a fight or flight response, just from thought alone, from panic, from fear, especially from what? From fear, your immune system goes like this. You do not think about any type of flu. You do not think about fighting any type of infection or pathogenic organism.
Right. Well, I mean, we can actually create any type of emotion. Think about, because this is a really good example of creating emotion just by creating a physical response because of an emotion. If you watch a sad movie or you see a commercial, say you see a little video clip of a soldier coming home and surprising his kids at the school, like everyone's seen that. Every time I watch one of those, it chokes me up. It makes me cry.
That's an emotion response.
Because that's an emotion response. But is that really happening to me? So that's what we need to think about.
No, it's not really happening to you, but it really is happening in you.
Right. So
yes.
So that is what I want people to realize, because think about this. How much of this year have you spent paying attention to the news and the mainstream media? Like how much the last 5 or 6 months?
But let me rewind that and say this. A lot of people will be like, I don't watch the news. I'm not talking about news from a channel 5 or a channel 4. No, I'm talking about social media news.
For sure.
I'm talking about the news from your friend. I'm talking about that is the news that we're talking about, you guys.
Yeah.
And you might say, well, I never watch the news. You're right. But when you talk about the same things and you commiserate in this misery and fear, that is the news that we're talking about.
Yes, that is. I'm so glad you clarified that, because I'm always harping on turn off mainstream media, stop watching mainstream media. And a couple months ago, some of you might know I disconnected from Facebook because it was...
I have too. What? We're on the same page.
You know what? It was not serving me, and I found myself full of anxiety just from scrolling and watching the different conversations people were having with each other. And the thing is, this is what I always hear from people. You say it's a way that you keep in touch with your family and friends. Here's the deal. The people that you care about and you care about being in touch with, you know how to reach each other. You have your phone numbers, you know where they live. You know how to call these people and text them and communicate with them without depending on social media. Social media has turned into something that is a bigger problem that you would do yourself a very good thing psychologically and health-wise and your immune system to take yourself out of social media. And
that's exactly right.
My husband did this before I did. Wow, he said, he's like, I'm done with Facebook, because he used to Facebook all the time because all his friends were on there. And then, so this is what we're talking about.
And the reason why is because on the social media, then you start getting into the fight or flight response. Okay. Right. You see something from someone, that's exactly right. Yeah. So you guys, you must release the pressure somewhere. And Jane and I were just talking about this. You have to release the pressure. Now, a lot of the gyms are not available.
The gyms are closed. No sports happened this year. That's one of the things that people would go, like my daughter-in-law loves soccer, and she has season tickets to Real, the local soccer. And they would go, her and her sister would go, and sometimes my son, and they'd go
all crazy and yell
and they would yell and support their team and wave their flag. But that's a pressure release.
That's a pressure release.
And all of those things have been pulled away from us.
Right.
So
even for some, shopping is a pressure release.
Oh,
like just going and like walking down. I have so many patients. They will just go and they will walk, and I'm like, cool. You want to walk, and they'll just walk. I have one patient, and the husband's kind of like, I don't know if I like this walking in this store. I used to like walking because she finds so many things to buy.
I know. Well, so my little sister, her thing, and this has been her thing for years. She says, I went to Target in my pajamas and shuffled around for a while. Now,
for a pressure release, for
total, she would get her girls to bed, and her husband would be there, and she'd go, I'm going to go to Target, and that would literally release her stress. She would walk around Target for an hour. She might find a little thing here or there, but she kind of developed this thing where she said she'd pick up things and put them in her cart, and she'd hold on to them for a while. Oh, yeah. And if she still liked them, by the time she got to a certain place, she'd keep them. But if they didn't, she'd put them back. But these things have been removed.
Has been removed. And see, something like that is so good to be able to take you out of a fight or flight response. So you think like, oh, that's kind of something silly. It is. So, some things that you guys, I'll say something. You have got to connect to people, okay? And
Yeah.
social media is not the answer. And one of
Yeah.
the biggest ways to relieve stress is to, well, for some of you not, but to be able to connect.
I think all humans connect. We all need connection.
We do.
And this is one of the things that makes us human is our connection with each other. In fact, I was telling you this, maybe I wasn't telling you, I was telling Brian this. So I saw a friend yesterday and she said she's in her 60s and her husband it's been their habit to watch the news at 5 o'clock every night.
Mhm.
They just turn it on, they watch for half an hour. And she was completely stressed because she said, what they're telling us is this is the new normal and that we shouldn't, no more shaking hands ever, no more hugging people, and always social distancing. And I said, I immediately grabbed her and gave her a big hug. I'm like, no, no, and no.
Right.
When we hug each other, we do several things. We increase oxytocin, which is a happy hormone. Hugging another person and touching them, like think about when you hug on your kids and they're all dirty from playing outside. You're building your microbiome because we're touching each other.
We need to talk on that next. Great.
Okay.
Wow, I love that. Yes. Thank you. You guys, this is so important. Like, what are the other things? If you can get outside and garden and be outside, seriously, get outside and
especially now.
Every single thing has a different bacterial sequence. Every single plant. Oh, we'll talk about that next, but I'll just put that in right now. Every single plant has its own bacteria.
Right.
That's why when you eat, especially plant material, even and animal material, it has the meat. I'm not talking about the material, but the meat. It has its own bacteria. Every single person has its own human microbiome. We also have, and they're noticing this more, virome.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, you have the
I knew
combination.
You were
Oh, I know you were. I knew you knew it. So by being able to connect, touch, be with one another, you actually create health because you actually share germs and immunity, and you're able to your bacteria says hi to their friends and they say hi to I know it's kind of funny, but literally they are able to communicate because you guys, your bacteria, if they've been in isolation, they're feeling like, hey,
they're lonely.
Yes, they want to see their friends too. I know that's funny, but seriously, you don't think of it, but on a microscopic level, we need to be able to be with one another so that we can actually not share germs in a bad way, but share microbiome, share virome, be able to help one another because they need connection too.
And
Isn't that funny?
No,
they need connection.
Well, they do, but here's the thing. This is not a brand new concept.
No.
This is ever since humans have been around on this planet, this is how humans have always stayed healthy. And I still believe that we live in the best time to be alive.
Oh, we live in a great time.
And every person that is here, you who that are here on this time, you might have felt hopeless and helpless and all these things over these last few months, but you're here at an important time in history on purpose.
Yes.
On purpose, you're here.
Amen, Preacher Jane. Yes.
So this whole thing of building our microbiome by connecting with humans it's not a brand new concept. Us telling you that and maybe educating you this doesn't mean that it's something new. It's old. Old as history. Okay, so that's good. So let's do this. Because I love how long this is going because I'm hoping that we can drop some really good information and knowledge for you and some hope, some big hope in the future. Okay, so let's talk really quick about nutrition.
Yeah. Let's summarize what we talked about so far. Number 1, managing stress. You guys have to. Number 2, connection. Number 3, being able to connection, but actually, connection, but connection for your microbiome and your virome. So let's talk about nutrition 4, I think. Yeah.
So to me, this has been a big wake-up call for a lot of people. And I will tell you, it still shocks me when I drive past fast food places and the line of the drive-through through McDonald's or any of these is still just packed. I'm just stunned.
I know, but I got to tell you a story.
Okay.
You guys, it's kind of like a little confession story, but we wanted to do it because we wanted to try it. So we were on vacation.
I know where this
You
is
know where this
going.
is going. We went on vacation to Napa, California.
Okay, so Dr. Nielsen has 4 kids.
Yeah, so all 4 of us, this is just my wife and I, this is all 4 of us. We were going to go out to the East Coast, but everything is crazy out there. So we flew to Napa. And one of the days we decided, hey, we had gone down to Yosemite and to the giant sequoia. I didn't even tell you. Oh my
No,
gracious,
no.
you guys, so beautiful. I'll have to show you a video.
Okay.
We go to Sequoia National Forest, right outside of Yosemite, actually. And we decided, we're kind of in a hurry. We decided to try fast food.
And it was your first time ever as a family?
Well, it was like, we tried this one restaurant. I don't think I've gone to in like 15 years or something. I won't even say the restaurant or fast food place, whatever. Is that? Yeah, it's a restaurant. We go there, and I was like, oh my gracious, like the food was dead.
Yeah.
Like there was no, if food has light, like the scale of light was like this, and we felt it, and my wife was kind of like, oh my gracious. And I almost had to apologize or repent because I had exposed my kids. No, I'm serious. I really felt bad. I was like, what did I just do to my family? I just gave them, you guys, I'm not saying like, look at me. No, no. I'm just saying we always try to eat healthy as much as possible. You know, we grow our own garden. We grow a lot of our own food. We actually have 2 gardens. And when I ate that, I was like, oh, wow, there's no light, there's no life in this food.
Well, and there's no love. Like when you make
There's
food,
no love.
even if you go into the grocery store.
Right there was no love.
Think about it. Even if you don't have a garden, but you go and you get your vegetables and you get your food from the grocery store and you make it yourself.
Oh yeah, and that's what we do as well, not just garden.
Yeah, you're making it with love, and that's the problem. You have dead food.
Yeah.
It might fill you up and keep you alive. And I think that what happens when you eat food like that on a regular basis, you actually become numb to what food is supposed to be like and how it's supposed to nourish you
and feel,
and all of that
when it goes into your body.
Yeah. And and it was funny because I was having a conversation with a very good friend who is also a chiropractor, and we were talking about how, like, he came and got some herbs, and he said, there's just something so special about your herbs, and I know it's because you add love. And I said, yeah, we literally will hold on. If we are packing orders, we hold on to the package. Like, we give our stuff love on its way. But you can feel that energy. You might not even realize it. So because you've been removed from the fast food thing for so long, you actually experience, and you're so tuned into that.
It was really interesting.
So I would challenge you to tune in to what your food actually is presenting itself to you as. Does it look like living food? Because everything's energy. Everything is energy.
Light.
Everything is energy and light. So your food, and you know what? We don't even need to go into all the nuances and details of nutrition.
I think the easiest thing is just to say, eat like a baby.
Yeah.
That's what I usually say. Eat like a baby. Babies eat real food.
Wow.
Think about how a toddler eats. Its parents feed them carrots, squash,
hopefully,
chicken.
Hopefully.
Do they not?
I think there's some parents who...
Okay, you guys, you should eat real food. You guys, I'm not saying this like Dr. Nielsen never eats. No. We do eat at restaurants. It was just like this fast food, and we tried it, okay? But I want you to know that food is life. I'll tell you this too. When I was in Italy learning Italian, I didn't know it was in the food because it was just like pasta.
Yeah.
And these recipes, there's like, oh, my mom, my mom, this is passed down from generations. And I was like, why does the food taste so good? It's just regular pasta. Jane nailed it. It's love. And they put so much love and passion into their food, because I kept wondering, I was like, what is in this food?
Yeah.
Like, what is in this food? It's so, like, it's the same pasta.
Yeah.
It's love. It's a sense of life and wholeness and appreciation, and this appreciation to grandma's recipe.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yes, nutrition.
Well, and
component of love.
And cooking can release pressure.
Oh, yes. Yes,
that can be. If you've never been a person who's enjoyed cooking, or just you didn't think you had the time for cooking, or preparing your family food,
Mm.
this is going to be a really good time for you if you haven't done this already. Just start doing this, and that alone can release the pressure valve. In fact, I'm lucky
Yes.
because I'm married to a person who cooks. He's
Mhm.
a very good chef.
That's what you told me.
Yeah, I know. You're like, when do I get to experience
Right?
this? I know.
What's
I
going on?
know, I know. So what happens is I go through my work day, and at the end of the day, I go and I sit at the counter and I watch him cook. And sometimes I'll pitch in and help.
That's so nice.
And
It's
so
fun to watch people cook.
it is fun to watch people
I
cook.
love to watch
Yeah.
my wife cook. I love to cook with her. But that's
Yes.
true. We get to cook together,
Yeah.
and that is a full-on managing of stress because
It is.
we've learned to work together in the kitchen. And I call her the chef, and I'm like the sous chef or the garbage man. I don't know. I'm just there to help. I seriously am the garbage man.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
like,
You're there to help and
can you please
wrangle the
wash your
kids.
dishes?
Wrangle the kids, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so let's finish this up with talking about your favorite herbs and things for flu season. So, like, is there our thing? So let's just talk about prevention. So we're going to do those other things we just talked about. So if you were going to prevent, I mean, would you do vitamin C every day? Would you make sure you get enough vitamin D every day? What do you do?
So vitamins, I usually look at two main vitamins, vitamin D and vitamin A. Okay. And the next thing I love for any type of immune booster is getting something from mother's milk. Well, you can't get that from mother's milk, but you can get it from coconut oil. And it's in the saponified coconut, which is called monolauric acid. I use monolauric acid. I usually like to, and we've talked about this, but take some type of an adaptogenic complex. Possibly, I don't want to give them too big of a list, but sometimes some mushrooms. And then some type of a, like an ashwagandha. And then, of course, if you're really pushing into boosting immunity, then something like what Gene has, like Lomation herbs. What else do I use?
Well,
and then I use silver a lot.
Yeah, I know you use silver. And
Yeah.
I'll put all this down below the video, links to some stuff like some adaptogens, and maybe if you have a favorite vitamin D supplement or a vitamin A supplement.
Yeah, so on vitamin A, I usually use an emulsified form because vitamin A can become toxic in the liver.
Right.
So I almost always use a vitamin A. You can put a link to it, and then I'll use we use a liquid D. I like that, especially if you're trying to push. So ours is called Seattle Sun Drops because, like, up in Seattle where my sister used to live, my grandma, Seattle Sun Drops. I like that one, and I use a Monolaurin, or we use Monolaurin Max.
Now, is that the coconut oil?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, monolauric acid.
Okay. So what can you do? Would you suggest doing coconut oil just by itself? Would you get the same benefits?
It's not. It can, but it's like so much less. I usually do, like my kids, for example. What do my kids take? I always have them take a nutritional, like a healthy vitamin, a fish oil, and then almost always I'll have them take something to boost their immune system, and that is the monolauric acid. I'll just have them take that.
Okay, and I'll get the sources that you use, and we'll put it. They'll be below this video.
Absolutely, but I think you should talk about herbs. I know herbs, but you know herbs like so
well.
well.
And I'm not gonna really go into that because you guys hear from me enough about herbs.
Oh.
So.
Well, okay, then I guess we won't hear from her. Mushrooms as well, and then I said, as far as you have to, support whole body, but the reason why you're using an adaptogenic complex or you're using an adaptogen herb is because it's helping manage stress. Right. It's going back to the stress thing. So.
Right. So we do a couple of things that have adaptogens in them.
Yes, I remember
like
that.
Our endurance capsule.
Yes.
It has cordyceps and reishi.
Phenomenal.
Right there. And,
yeah, absolutely.
And then beetroot and yerba mate. And then we also do, we have ashwagandha in our Brain Glow. We have our suma root tincture, which is really nice.
Good stuff.
And tinctures go to work super fast.
Super fast.
They go right to the bloodstream.
They do. I'm saying serious, like super fast.
You just
even like funny. Super fast. Even like sometimes people come to me with oils and like, what about these essential oils? I'm like, they're great. sometimes I prefer a tincture. A lot of times I prefer a tincture over an oil. And they're like, well, why? I'm not going to explain that today. But
yeah, well, because they go right to
absorbability.
the bloodstream. They work really fast. So another quick tip I'm going to share with you at the very end here is make sure you stay hydrated. Drink a lot of water. That's going to help you get through this coming flu season. I also want you to make sure that you are getting enough sleep, high quality sleep. Disconnect from your technology a couple of hours before you actually hit the pillow, because what happens is you're getting that blue light and you're getting the stimulation from whatever it is you're watching or doing, and you really don't need, we talked about disconnecting from social media and the news and all of that. Read a book. Start doing puzzles.
What's that? Reading a book?
Right? Reading a book.
Like an actual paper book.
Yeah, pick up a hobby. This all sounds like really old-fashioned kind of stuff.
Yeah, be old-fashioned. That's what we should say.
Be old-fashioned. Start doing things the old-fashioned way. And then, if you're prepared, then when this next season comes upon us, regardless of everything that's happening, and all the fear-mongering that is going on in this particular year, you are going to be prepared, and you're going to get through it with clarity and really good health.
Yes.
And that's what it's about. It's not about feeling like you can't control anything. You control what you can control for yourself and your family, and be willing to be prepared to do this. Don't be a victim. You get to be the creator of your health. If you choose to be a victim, it's someone else's fault. It's the government's fault. It's the virus's fault that my life is what it is. You get to choose whether or not you're a victim or you're the creator of your health, right?
Yeah, I'll say this. Stop waiting for somebody to save you.
Yeah, you get to save yourself.
Take action, save yourself. Let God save you, but you know what I mean? I'm saying stop looking to a person to actually, what's the next step in all this? You're the next step. Be old-fashioned.
Yeah, I love it.
Man,
that's a great place to end.
That's great.
It is great. Well, thanks for stopping by. And thanks for tuning in. We got 27 minutes here. We're grateful for you. And please let us know if you have any questions, or if there's any of the links that we talked about that I didn't put underneath this video. Let me know and I'll make sure they go on there. Have a great day, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.